So obviously on Saturday, Lamont Roach Jr. took Tank Davis to a draw, but Lamont Roach Jr. should have won the fight. If we're going off the rules, and if we're not going off a biased perspective, and we're actually looking at the actual stats of the fight, and we're actually scoring the fight properly, Lamont Roach Jr. won the fight even without the knockdown that should have happened. So yeah. It's a really strange one, and I honestly do believe that on Saturday night that was one of the biggest farces in boxing I have seen in years, and I think that everyone has seen in years, if I'm being completely honest. I think it was an absolute disgrace from the referee. I think honestly he needs investigating. He really does. I think it was an absolute shambles. He had a really, really, really bad night. Yeah, look, I feel sorry for Lamont Roach Jr. He was ridiculously hard done by there in that fight, and should have been given the nod if we're going off the actual rules. And, Tank's reasoning for, taking the knee is because he had grease in his eyes. Even if he did, after having his hair done 2 days before the fight, but his barber or whoever did his hair had something to say about that. And apparently it shouldn't have really been affecting it too much. So that is something, and that kind of person who did it's experienced in that area. But even if it did affect Tank, it doesn't change the fact that it was a knockdown. Tank went down after taking a jab to the eye, and then he probably felt the effect then. It should have been a knockdown without a shadow of a doubt. But either way, Roach should have been given the decision. It's one of the biggest farces I've seen in years, if I'm being completely honest with you. And I think something has to be done about it. It was an absolute shambles the way everything was dealt with. There was so much confusion around it all. It doesn't go off the rules by a voluntary knockdown either. So I don't know why loads of people are. They're Tank fans who are just always constantly, they don't want to say a bad word about Tank. They can't just be honest with themselves. That was a knockdown, no matter what people think. And there's nothing wrong with being knocked down. There's nothing wrong with it at all. And, there would have been no backlash. Like if, it was just awarded as a knockdown. All great fighters get dropped. But the reason why there is backlash is because of the confusion about it and how protected Gervonta Tank Davis is. That's why there's backlash on this whole thing. And that's why just everything to do with this fight was a massive farce and an absolute shambles around everything to do with it, to be completely honest. And the fact that the judges had an absolute howler. I don't know how one of them had Tank winning the fight. I think the best result that Tank can get out of it is a draw, which is what he got. But it's either a draw or a Lamont Roach Jr. win. It's as simple as that, and it should have been a Lamont Roach Jr. win. I don't know how not even one judge didn't have Lamont winning. I really don't understand, because let's be real, about 90% of us fans had Lamont Roach Jr. winning that fight against Tank. But again, he's protected, and the fight was a farce from the very, very start. And that's just the sad thing. The fight was a farce from the start, and I really do feel like most of Tank's fights are. Tank cherry picked Lamont Roach, and even though Lamont Roach is a world champion, it was still a cherry pick, because he's looking at someone who's a weight lower than him, and it was a cherry pick gone wrong. It's as simple as that. No matter what people want to say of it, no matter how great Lamont Roach Jr. is and how well he fought in that fight, he was still a cherry pick for Gervonta Davis. Like he was. There's no denying that at all, and that is no disrespect to Roach whatsoever. It should, he was a cherry pick. At the end of the day, there were other fights that Tank, could have taken and would have been better for Tank's legacy if he would have won them. But he decided to go down the Lamont Roach Jr. route, and it completely backfired on him, and he should have lost the fight. But again, he's protected. And he's allowed to be doing this. He's allowed to put these, no rehydration clauses on his opponents. He's allowed to always dictate these terms in extreme measures, and is always able to cherry pick his opponents, even though, if we're being real, he's not done lows in the sport to be able to do that. Like, the guy's not reached Floyd Mayweather status. He's not reached Floyd Mayweather status. He can't be doing that. He's not reached Canelo status. He can't be doing that. Even though I don't think any fighter should be cherry picking opponents. And that's why I do have a problem when Canelo does it, because I don't think he should be cherry picking. But Canelo's got more of a right to do it than someone like Gervonta Davis does. That's my point that I'm trying to say. So, yeah, it's a shame to see. It is. And also, after the fight, Tank said, I'm not looking at the rematch, and that's not going to be next. But then he did say on Twitter early, he said, don't worry, I am looking at making a rematch. But I don't know if he's saying that that's going to be next, or if he is looking for the rematch, but that's just going to be some point in the future, because he was saying that he'll fight Jake Paul, but I don't know how they'll get that to work because of the massive weight difference. But either way as well, he shouldn't be able to do that. Like, I just find it strange. I really do find it strange how these referees are protecting Tank, and how these judges were protecting Tank as well, and how PBC, the commentary, were literally on Tank's ass the whole fight. It's just not on. It's just not on. I don't understand how PBC had those unofficial scorecards up and they still had Tank winning the fight. I don't know how. Commentary. I mean, I was doing a watch along for it, so I wasn't able to get the full gist of the commentary. But from what I heard, they were being biased in favor of Tank. They were. So again, I just don't understand it, and it's frustrating. It really is. I just feel like it's just the whole thing was a shambles. I'm struggling to really get my head around it all, if I'm being completely honest. I mean, let's have a look at these stats here as well. And these stats just show even more that, Lamont Roach Jr. should have won the fight. Roach outlanded him in rounds 1, 2, leveling round 4. Tank outlanded him just about in round 5. Again at round 7, Lamont outlanded him. Even there, Lamont outlanded him just. Close there, but again, the volume was more busy from Lamont Roach Jr. And in the 12th round, Lamont Roach Jr. was more busy, and he landed more punches. And literally in all these rounds as well, as we can see, Lamont Roach Jr. is more busy. He was able to outwork Tank in every single one of these rounds. He was more busy than Tank in all of the rounds. He was more busy than what Tank was. All the volume came from Lamont Roach Jr. That Lamont Roach Jr. was pushing the pace the whole fight as well. It's all in favor of Lamont Roach Jr. It is. It's all in favor of Lamont Roach. It is all in favor of him. He was throwing more power punches. He was looking to push the pace of the fight. Yes, Tank was the more accurate puncher, but at the end of the day, he was outworked. And to me, I feel like, and to a lot of others as well, Lamont Roach Jr. was picking his moments better and was much cleaner with his work throughout that fight. 100% he was. And power punches landed, and again to the body. Roach takes that, and it's clear as well. Total jabs, Roach takes that, it's clear. Total punches, Roach takes that, and again, it's pretty clear to see. I really do think that Lamont Roach Jr. was hard done by in that fight, if I'm being completely honest. I really do. It's difficult to get your head around, but Tank is very, very, very protected, and it's just going to continue to be. And I don't know if the rematch is going to be next. I don't know what he's going to do with that, but now he doesn't want to get Turki Al-Sheikh involved, so it's not like we're going to see Tank in, other massive fights. And who knows if we are actually going to see this rematch with Lamont or not. Like, I want to see it. It's something that, we need to see and that Tank needs to take for his legacy. So let's wait and see. But what we saw on Saturday night was an absolute farce and an absolute shambles, if I'm being honest. Thanks for watching.